Is the truth too painful to say? Why can Jungkook only whisper those words to Jimin? And what is Taehyung really hiding behind his always calm smile? The hospital doors may have been tightly closed to the cameras and the public eye, but the feelings that flowed from within were more honest than any press release. No one suspected that behind the members' silence, there was a great upheaval going on. In a visit that was almost undetected, Jungkook came to the hospital in a black hoodie, looking down, not as a superstar, but as a broken little brother. In the quiet room, accompanied only by the sound of machines and heavy breathing, he turned to Jimin and said in a barely audible voice, "Hyung doesn't want you to know, but his condition is getting worse." Jimin was silent. No words came out of his mouth. His gaze was directed at Taehyung's body lying down, pale, barely moving. The figure who used to greet the world with a smile and laughter now looked like a shadow of himself. Not the V who was full of enthusiasm on stage. Not the Taehyung who flapped his angel wings while shouting "I purple you" to millions of fans. All that was visible in front of him was a weak, fragile body, as if on the border between sleep and unconsciousness. Jungkook sat on the edge of the bed, clutching the wrinkled sheets in his hands. He held back tears, trying to look strong, but his voice cracked. "He didn't want you to know. He said you lost quite a lot of sleep because of him last year." It wasn't just nostalgia. It was an old wound reopening. Last year, Taehyung had complained about being tired, but covered it all up with jokes and smiles. No one would have thought that at that time something inside him had started to change. There was a pain that he had suppressed. There were signs that he had hidden. But now, all of that could no longer be denied. Jimin could only sit, hold his best friend's hand, and whisper softly into his ear that he didn't know if he could still hear. "Stupid. You shouldn't go through this alone." There was a letter, handwritten, left before Taehyung was transferred to his final military location. The letter was addressed to no one else, only Jungkook. In the contents, Taehyung wrote, "If something happens to me, don't tell Jimin. He absorbs other people's sadness too quickly. Please let him breathe first." Jungkook tried to comply with the request, holding it in as hard as he could. But when he saw the results of the third scan, and watched the body continue to lose consciousness day by day, he couldn't take it anymore. To a nurse on night duty, he said tremblingly, "I thought I was protecting him, but I was actually just scared." In the 4 days after the confession, Jimin never left Taehyung's bedside. He slept on the floor, refused to be interviewed, refused scheduled photo shoots, and even refused to go home. When asked to rest by HYBE staff, he only answered softly, "If the positions were reversed, he wouldn't leave me either." One of the nurses told something moving. Jimin had talked in his sleep. He said, as if crying in a dream, "Don't close your eyes anymore. I'm here. Don't go somewhere I can't follow." But it wasn't just Jimin who knew. Several other members also started to appear. Namjoon was seen leaving the hospital 2 days before Jungkook's confession, his eyes red and his face covered by a mask. Jin came quietly at night, through the back door, and left before sunrise. Suga wrote a short sentence on Weverse, "Even steel can break." No explanation, no answer. But the meaning is hanging. And J-Hope, who is still serving in the military, reportedly asked for leave several times just to ask for news, something that rarely happens. Meanwhile, HYBE remains silent. No new statements other than currently recovering and observing. But this silence only raises more questions. Are they protecting Taehyung's privacy? Or is there something much bigger than just fatigue? Some medical observers are starting to speculate about the possibility of an autoimmune disorder. A former medic who served in the same military zone said that extreme conditions can exacerbate hidden symptoms that the body has previously suppressed. If true, it means Taehyung has been hiding his pain for much longer than suspected. And now, everything that was hidden is starting to show itself. But beyond all that, what is most heartbreaking is not the illness, but the loneliness endured alone. A suffering protected by a smile. A secret kept not to deceive, but to love. And now, as the truth slowly begins to seep out, the world asks, is this just a casual break? Or the beginning of something much more serious?
make some progress, I can see that they compare. I think